Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at a match that we had in Erlenberg a few days ago. Now this is a low tier match in the new Italian line. This is the P.43 tier 5 medium tank. And what we're going to look here is just overall situational awareness, as well as try to help you guys pick up, what you should be picking up around this tier, which is the basics of team play, the basics of communicating with your teammates in order to play as a team together, as well as just situational awareness and understanding where you are compared to where your enemies are. So what I had planned here at the beginning was to go over here to take the castle. Again, this is kind of a higher tier mentality, and I didn't actually realize that this is what it was. So I see that as an encounter match, we have the cap here in the middle, and in all honesty, the enemy just went for the cap in the middle, especially that Luke's right there. Our guys were able to get up into the middle as well to stop them from capping outright, which, in all honesty, don't just outright cap guys, because it doesn't produce a lot of experience or rewards. Your tank experience will lack, as well as your personal experience in the game, and again, you're not going to make too many credits or do anything like that. However, at the same time, don't ever listen to anybody that says, oh, kill all the enemy team tanks, or hey, quick cap, or anything like that. Just win the match as quick as possible. The experience and the credits will come, and as long as you win the match and get into the next match quicker, like if somebody's trying to spend 5 minutes chasing down an enemy light tank compared to 30 seconds that it takes to cap, for 3 of you guys to be on cap, don't waste that extra 5 minutes, because that could be another match or 2 that you could get into. But we're going to start this up here again, and we're going to take a look, and we see on our minimap here that we can see a bunch of the enemy tanks right here in the middle, right around the cap, and we have very few of our guys over here. Now, we can see our tank destroyers are kind of set up in the back here, and that's okay for now, as long as they don't just sit back there. If they just sit back there, they're going to kind of be out of the match, and it's not really good because it puts your team down. So don't just assume that if you're a tank destroyer, you're going to be sitting in the back being a sniper, because no, you're a tank destroyer. You're meant to go around and find the best way to kill tanks. But we're going to start this up here again, and we're going to see here that we can just barely see an outline right here of this enemy tank. So I stop, and I load an AP round in, and throw a round into him. Now, for some reason, the artillery is looking over here. I don't have light bulb on this tank yet, but understanding that I don't have light bulb yet, but you can kind of keep that in your mind as to what you might be lit by, when you might be lit, and crossing which terrain types might get you lit, or specific spots in maps. These are all great things to adapt in your own way and learn how to do. But we were obviously spotted by the M8A1 or even the Lukes if he saw us before we saw him, and we can see that our view range is here on this green circle on the minimap with our max view range in the white circle. Then the yellow circle obviously is our draw distance. So if we actually take a look here and try to look at this SU-76, we can't see him, but we can see our Hetzer right there, who's just at the edge of our maximum view range. But we're going to go back here, and we're going to pick up again on this M8A1. We do see that there is one grill artillery, and he was able to shoot us, but we're going to throw another round or 2 over here to try to take him out, even if he's not lit. If you know where somebody's sitting, shoot at him. But knowing that the artillery shot at us, I'm moving. I'm getting into cover. I'm trying to get towards the center of this map so I can help out my team as much as possible. My crew is no longer stunned, so what you're seeing at the bottom of the screen there is a little bit of a bug. And I feel from this position here, coming up from this angle, I can do a few things. We have the Hetzer to our right. That's on 96 hit points, and I actually have a very good chance to penetrate him. And I know that because of the statistics of my gun, which is always a good idea to understand what your gun can and can't do before you get into a match or get too deeply into a match. Like I know later on I'm going to probably have issue with the 3001H, the top tank on the enemy team there, because he's a heavy tank. I might have issue with the T-34 because he's angled armor. But for most of the other tanks here, I understand that my gun is probably going to be able to deal with them, with few exceptions. So we're coming up here in the middle, trying to get in position on these guys. And I have my camera zoomed out a little bit so that I could look around, look down that corner, see if I saw the Hetzer, and I didn't, so I moved up here onto the Lukes, and this is all just going 1, 2, 3, 4 right in my head. as from my experience for what to do, or what my experience has taught me to do to try to get in on these guys and get kills without receiving a lot of damage. So we saw the Lukes there. He sees us. He shot at us a little bit earlier, but he sees us and he knows that we're here. I'm sitting here waiting for him to kind of do a rookie mistake, but he actually never does that. Kudos to this Luke's player for playing pretty well. You'll see here in a second, I'm going to take a shot at this ELC that's up in the right-hand side of the screen, and you're going to see the Luke's actually pull out as I'm reloading and try to deal some damage to me. So I take a shot on this ELC, trying to lead him. I do lead him a bit much, and he turns around. We look back here at the Luke's, who's still waiting for us to do something. Now, I thought that right there was actually an enemy shell that came in, something from down at the bottom of the map that we might not see, but it appears it might just be one of our T-40s sitting back there, or even one of the guys over here at the castle that shot in here. So we're moving forward a little bit, and I spot this P-2640. You saw that notification come up at the bottom of the screen. So I'm backing up now, realizing that it was one of my allies that fired that round. So I'm backing up, trying to get into a little bit more cover from this P-2640, who can still mess with me a bit. It depends on what ammo he's using, if his gun is fully upgraded as well. So we're backing up into cover, and I'll take a snapshot at him because I can see part of him, as you guys could see from that outline that lit up. And here we see the Luke. So Luke's been paying attention to me. He's actually waiting for me to come out fire and not pay attention to him, wait for him. He's waiting for opportunities to deal damage to me without me dealing damage to him. And he actually does a very good job here. He's able to come out and unload his clip on me without me being able to return fire as I'm reloading. He takes up my track, but I do hold my repair kit here. Or I would even hold my repair kit here if it was available. And here we're going to see the Lukes come out again as I'm reloading. And he takes a lucky ricochet shot, but that's okay. So right now I'm looking at this M8A1. We can see his icon's a bit higher up here, and it is kind of a small vehicle, about the same size as the Luke's. But we see how his icon is elevated up quite a bit further than we have the P-2640. That tells me he's either on the hill well behind the P-2640, or he's actually right here. And I glance quick down at the minimap, see that he's right next to me. So I'm actually going to move forward here and take him out. We just keep doing this, guys. Keep looking for shots of opportunity. Keep trying to whittle down their team without losing hit points. Now I'm inching forward here, trying to see if I could get a shot on this P-2640 as he's taking a route to remove himself from the position that he was in. But I'm also being wary of this T-34 over here, as well as there's that 3001H that I mentioned earlier that I might have issue with penetrating. So I pull up here. I do see that the T-34's turret and front hull were sticking out a little bit, but he is in a pretty defensible position, so I didn't want to sit there and aim, especially with how my tank is positioned, because we can see that it actually has my track wheel facing the enemy, so there's a high probability that I would get tracked by that guy if I took a shot. So I peeked out real quick, took a shot, and back up, just for the sake of saving my own hit points, repair kit, and all that. So at this time I realized that, hey, this position isn't going to work out. They have a few guys on the cap. We have one P-2640 on the cap, as well as one very beat up T1 heavy tank. So I realized that I got to try to do something. We got to try to move around and get this stalemate broken. So my initial plan was to come south towards the artillery there in that T-40, but we have 3 allied tanks down there, as you guys can see on the minimap, to now their 1 T-40. All of these guys up in the middle here probably don't have line on the guys in the south, so I'm just going to let them be, and I'm actually going to just reposition here on the middle. I was spotted through one of the openings coming out of here, so I do want to make sure that I am not just pulling out into the open. There we can see that T-34 again. We see the P-2640 also coming over, and the first shot there on the T-34, the snapshot misses. Either the shell doesn't come out of the gun, which can happen, guys. It's called ghost rounds. So don't be too alarmed when that happens. It's a very minor thing in the game, and they happen sometimes. We see the P-2640 crossing the bridge. I know I'm not going to be loaded in time to shoot him before he gets into cover. That's just basically experienced situational awareness. I know he's going to get across that bridge with how fast he was going. before the 3 point whatever seconds it takes for me to load. But I do see this SU-85B, and I know that my round could actually high roll enough to take him out. So I'm going to take a shot at him here. And we see we roll 108, he's left with 8 hit points. So you could sneeze on him and he'll die. As we roll forward here again, we have our driver's view check right up here at the front. And at the front of the gun as well. That spotted this M5A1 without me actually being able to see him with my gun through the optics. So we see that, if you can see down here, we have our commander's hatch. We have the gun now lined up on this guy. So there's our 2 outgoing spot checks. Now he's definitely seen me from connecting with that tank front spot check. And as well as halfway down the tank, there is a spot check for seeing your vehicle along the top of the hull. So we saw him before we actually saw him. If you guys want to rewind this video a little bit, you can see there's a split second where he actually lights up before we have line of sight on him through our optics. But I see him. He is looking away, luckily. So as I'm rolling forward here again, I'm going to take another shot at him. And just back off a bit. And I'm kind of still watching here. And there's the P2640 that rolls into my sights. So I'm backing up here. I'm trying to get as much hard cover between me and him as possible. Now, I right-click on him and auto-aim on him because the Italian tanks actually do have pretty good gun depression, as you guys can see here. And where I'm at right now, if he was to actually shoot at me, which I'm pretty sure he does here in a second, but if there's a great chance that his round is just going to bounce off my armor because of how steep I have my frontal armor as well as the side armor onto him. So if we look here, guys, and this is something great to do in reviewing your replays, is to look from the enemy's point of view at what your tank looks like and the possibility of what you can get shot by. Now, he's kind of in a bad position. He took this a little bad because his nose is way up in the air, and I have so much opportunity to shoot him and pen him that we're just going to finish him off right here. And we see that M5A1 Stuart rolling around again, and we can see, kind of get a glimpse of the battlefield, guys. There's a lot of dead enemy tanks right here compared to very few dead allied tanks. Now, this guy, I think he fell off the bridge. This guy's way up north, around where this A20 is. So the A20 got him. But we're going to keep focus here, and we're going to keep fighting our fight just one tank at a time. Keep in cover, keep your hit points, don't make stupid decisions. So we see this M5A1, and we're just going to shoot a round into him, and thankfully our P2640 either unloads an HE round into his rear, which would pen into full damage, or he gets a high roll on his cannon, and it takes out this Stuart. So I'm going to take this opportunity to actually roll forward. And it's going to take me a few seconds to get unlit here. And just as that happens, we see the Hetzer rolling across. We spot check the Hetzer rolling across, and we can see the T-34. Now, we're not actually spotting through this dead tank, but we did see him in this little gap here to the right of the tank that spotted that T-34. And again, we're gonna move forward, and we actually have to push out this dead Locust so that we can actually get a shot on this guy. So you see me back up and give it a little bit of gas, and we were able to actually push forward on him. Now, the reason I pulled out here a second time, whereas earlier I said, guys, don't just sit there and get shot, is this guy's not looking at me. I put a shot into him, and you guys can see we have almost loaded our gun here so that we can actually take a second shot on him. Now, it's going to take more time for him to turn his turret towards me and aim to get a good shot off than it is for me to sit here, reload, and aim as well. We're going to shoot at him again, get another one into him, and then as he's backing up into cover, we're going to try to get to the north side of the river here. As we can see now, the Hetzer's dead, that Su-85B is dead. And I was just typing in the chat there, typing to the team, hey, great recovery, guys. You know, it's like we were down 1-6 at one point. But we're going to move around here. We're going to try to see what's going on everywhere. We have a guy up in the castle trying to help out our Stug down here. And this Su-85B on our team is actually doing quite well, and he's going to help us out later. But for right now, I'm trying to move away from the river so that I can get up to where our P2640 is over here, because he's going to have some trouble because he's now flanked by this B1. And some of you guys might be saying, oh, it's just a B1, you know, it's got a puny gun, whatever. Not to rear armor. This thing is actually very menacing at tier, and don't ever downplay heavy tanks, because it will be your downfall. Same with like tank destroyers, guys. Light tanks, tank destroyers, heavy tanks. You know, they're all great threats. Medium tanks can be the jack of all trades, or they could be your worst nightmare. But and we see the 3001H actually takes out this P.43. He might have been sitting out, or who knows what reason he was gotten. But I see the B1 is just hard charging. He is not stopping. So I know on the map here, there's a big opening behind this archway here. So we're actually going to back up a little bit, and we're going to be able to see this B1. And he's going to be looking at us as well. But we're going to be able to get off a better shot at him because he's rolling full speed. We're not actually moving that fast. Yeah, we're moving over rough terrain, but we're not moving that fast. Rough terrain never really affects the accuracy circle. The things that affect your accuracy is the speed at which you're going. So if you're going a very high speed, you're going to have a very big bloom. Whether you're turning the tank chassis and whether you're turning the tank turret. Those are the things that affect the bloom the most. Firing will affect the bloom, but it doesn't affect it as much as moving. So we're not moving that fast. I know that I have a little bit of an advantage here. Plus, I kind of want to test my armor against this B1 because I'm not entirely sure about it. But we can see here, hey, he bounced off. He's got the small cannon. That's just a 55 pinger. You know, it's nothing. So I'm now not as worried about this guy as I am about that A20 coming down from our north. But he is doing what I told you guys not to do. Don't sit out in the open and shoot because you're just going to lose hit points for it. And in his case, he's also losing cap points for it. So he's now backed off. I'm going to make a mad rush across here. I'm kind of turning and weaving a little bit, buying some extra time to get unlit a little bit from the T-34 and the 3001H so I just don't peek out and get, you know, my butt handed to me. But there we can see the T-34. Okay, he's back there. I see the A20 on my map has nothing between me and him. Now somebody spotted him. I'm pretty sure it's the Su-85B that actually spotted this A20, but I'm going to take a little bit of, a weaving path here. First, so hopefully I don't get shot by this guy. Now I'm actually going pretty slow, and the fact that I don't get hit here is kind of amazing. He might not have been paying attention, or he might have been worried about the Panzer IV-H behind him. We can't see from here. But the A20 has peeked out here hoping that he would get a shot on me, but no, there's a building in the way. There's the T-34 fired at us and he missed, and we're going to fire at the A20, and again, I don't know what my armor is going to be like against this guy. I can see from here that it looks like he actually has the small gun, so there's a very low chance that'll penetrate me, but if we can see where his gun's actually looking down. So he's trying to hit that weak lower front plate that's so common on so many tanks. But as we see here, he's not going to be doing too much to us. So I've already bounced 2 rounds. I didn't know I have to stop cap now or it's game over. So I move over here and we can actually see that the capture is blocked. And again, guys, I mentioned this Su-85B earlier. He snuck on cap right with 1 second left. So he's paused the cap enough for us to get a reset on and possibly pull this thing back to win it. So I'm here aimed on the side of the turret of this B1, and man, turret shots are great. If you hurt something in the turret, that's something that that enemy definitely needed. Like, immediately needed. It's either crew, ammo, gun, optics, whatever. It's something that they need. So when you can, aim for the sides and rears of the turret. Also, there's usually ammo stored in the turret. If you guys can figure out where the ammo locations are, shoot the ammo. You might get a nice fireworks show. So we get a little bit of a reset here on the B1. And this A20, he's put a few rounds into us. None that have actually really done damage until that one. I take a snapshot at him. And right now I am auto-aimed on him, which was just a quick auto-aim before he got behind that building, so I could do that. As soon as my tank came out, and he was panicking a little bit. We'll back this up and go through this again. But he was kind of panicking a little bit as I was coming back here. And he's just going to turn his turret away. So we're going here again. We see the turret of the B1, and I go to third person like this before I shoot, so I can get a general consensus of what's around me. So we can see that we can't see anything over here where these two tanks are sitting, but we have a Panzer IV-H right there. We see the B1 sitting side on, and I have a better shot at his turret than I do his hull. Because if we go back here and we actually look at from the sniper point of view, we can see that I can see very little of his hull, and I don't just want a track shot. No, I want HP damage. So we shoot him in the side of the turret, and again, it might hurt him critically. So right here we aim on the A20. That's what that little sound was right there. We auto-aimed on the A20. And if we watch again, we take this snapshot, either, again, the round just completely misses or it doesn't come out. But he's kind of backing up here, and we can watch him with this angle. So see his turret's way over here. So he's looking behind him, and you'll actually see his turret turn a bit more as we move up on him here. So his turret's like that, and I'm auto-aimed on him right here. Although, if we can see, guys, this is lag. Right here's lag. So here's our aiming circle right here. There's our gun barrel. So that's a bit of a lag. So what you're not seeing client side is that your gun is actually turned a bit further. Even though we're actually auto-aimed on this guy, the server doesn't see that yet. So we're sitting at 31 milliseconds, which is actually a pretty good ping, but what we're seeing is the latency between the client and the server right here. So just make sure that if you guys are going to peek-a-boom like this, make sure that your reticle snaps onto that target. So it's about right here that my finger is in motion for clicking, because I know that that reticle is just going to snap right on that target in another split second. And we take him out just that simple. Now, what this A20 was doing, and I kept pointing out that he's looking away, is he was not holding down the right mouse button. If you hold down the right mouse button, it'll keep your turret pointed in the direction that you were last looking. So you could hold down the right mouse button and spin your camera around and around and around, and your turret will stay the same. So that's just another little pointer to help you guys out. So we see here the Su-85 is actually taking out the B1, and we just lost our ally, the Panzer IV-H, to the 3001H and the P.43. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to see if I have a shot on these guys. I don't stay here long, because at this point I'm probably still lit for another second or two against these guys, and I don't want to be sitting here to have them be able to go unlit, peek out whenever they choose to, and shoot me. So we're gonna move back around here, try to join up with this Su-85B, and try to work together here and take these last two tanks out. So I'm just positioning in, again, going for the hard cover. I'm positioning in, going for the hard cover to try and protect as much of my tank as possible. And we're going to see the 3001H actually pull out here for one reason or another. And it kind of caught me not looking, because I'm also checking this side down here to see if they get lit down there for a possible shot. I take a snapshot there. Nothing comes of it, but what we're going to see happen here is we're actually going to see the 3001H pull back out again, which gives me time to aim up a little bit better of a shot. Now this right here gives me a little bit more confidence. I just bounced around from a VK3001H gun. It had to have hit the turret somewhere. We can't really see where the damage marker is, but we have some on the front here, possibly from that A20. So now, here he goes. He makes a critical mistake here. He pulls out again. And I am sitting here aiming, and I'm pretty sure my aim time is very similar to his. Now, I was stopped first, and this is all going through my mind as this is going on live. So I'm here stopped first, aiming already, and he is still moving now, applying the brake so that he can stop and shoot. So I get a shot off onto him, and actually he kind of peeks out again and tries to get another shot off, but I think he's about done here. So our Su-85B is actually trying to keep him suppressed, and what I was doing was sitting there was asking the Su-85B to flank. Probably not the best idea. It's probably just better for me to go. So you guys are actually going to see me do this, and it's at this point that I remember that, hey, you can cross anywhere in this river. So I'm going to keep my turret pointed towards these guys and find a way across this river as fast as possible. And right here, you guys can see that my turret is angled this way, but I'm looking all around me over here trying to see where the path is. That's me holding down that right mouse button so that the turret doesn't turn. But now that I found my path and I want my turret to stay pointed that way, I release the right mouse button and we just advance forward. Now, here is another thing that you might miss when watching some replays, guys, is I did this camera angle on purpose. What this camera angle shows me is that I can look down and see where the cover is, where the dead tanks are sitting, and you know, see how to position as soon as I exit this building. Now, as soon as I exit this building, you're gonna see me hug this building side because we have cover right here. Now, it's kind of hard to see that this is a window opening in the next building because it looks like it's part of this building. But as we get further on here, we can see that, and we see that this is a window opening right here. So I'm looking down here and I don't see anything yet, which is good for me until right there. So I see the 3001H, and trick of the trade is if you can't really see them, they can't really see you too well. And knowing that he bounced around on my turret before just gives me the confidence to make this move to show him only my turret. Now he's not looking, so I'm going to shoot him a few times here. But we got to keep an eye out for where that T-34 is. And here comes our Su-85B. He's actually going to round the corner here and take this guy out. He takes a shot for it, but he does get the kill shot in because I missed. But he's also spotting this T-34, so we know where he is now. And I'm just jumping on the gun because this guy is now actually in a pretty bad position here. He's still facing towards this 3001H, taking fire from that T-34. So I know I need to act now. This guy risked his tank to come help me, so I'm going to risk my tank to come out help him. We take a shot on this T-34, it does miss, but here we take another shot, and we actually put it into him. We're going to receive a round in return here, but I know I shot first, and chances are I have a better reload. So he's going to shoot me right here. We didn't lose anything critical, so I'm just going to come around, auto-aim on his front so I don't hit off the side or something like that, and we make that crucial hit there that actually does take out that T-34. Let me back up here a bit, guys. We'll back up here a bit and play the last several seconds here just straight through so you guys can see everything that's going on.
Nemico danneggiato. Centrato. L'abbiamo preso. Cingolo colpito. Bersaglio acquisito. Bersaglio perso. Corazzato nemico distrutto.
And that is that, guys. If you have questions, comments, concerns, hey, hit me up anytime. You guys can leave comments here on YouTube. You guys can come follow me at twitch.tv/colddawg. That's COLDDAWG. Just like you see here on YouTube. And as always, guys, hey, keep your head on the swivel.